Hey everyone, it's Kristen from k.becca, and in this video I'll show you my favorite tip for adding sequins to cards. I'll be using the Pretty Pink Posh Sparkle Dots Patterns 1 stamps for this project, and this is such a cool and innovative stamp set. I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to design this set with Pretty Pink Posh, and it's really taking my sequin game to the next level. Each of the shapes in this set is made up of little circles that are a perfect fit for things like sequins and nouveau drops. You just add your sequins, or whatever medium you're using, over top of each of the circles to create a shape. This set includes a rainbow, a heart, a star, a half circle or scallop, a line, a leaf, and single dots for you to make your own patterns and designs. I'll be using the Tonic Studios Tim Holtz stamp platform to do my stamping, and since I'm using clear stamps, I'll use the clear stamp side of the lid. I've cut a top-folding A2 size card base from the My Favorite Things Primitive Cream cardstock, and I'll place that into the stamp platform, fold side at the top, and use the magnets that come with the platform to hold the card in place. I'll be using the Sparkle Dots Star Stamp for this project, and I'll place that stamp side down on the cardstock where I want to stamp it, then bring the lid around to pick it up. We don't want the ink that we use when we stamp to show through the sequins, so it's best to use a light neutral color. I don't have a whole lot of light neutral colored inks in my stash, so I'm using the Distress Pumicestone ink. Distress inks aren't typically used for stamping because they're not meant to give crisp results, but we don't need crisp lines for this since they're going to be covered up with sequins anyway, so Distress ink is fine for this. Next, I want to stamp the sentiment, and I'll be heat embossing the sentiment. So first I'll go over the area with a powder tool to help prevent excess embossing powder from sticking where I don't want it. I'm using the You Are Amazing stamp from the Pretty Pink Posh Everyday Greetings stamp set, and I'll line that up, stamp side down on the cardstock where I want it to be. Then I'll bring the lid around to pick up the stamp, and I'll ink it up with Versamark ink and stamp it onto the card. After that, I'll take the card from the stamp platform, place a piece of scrap cardstock under it, and pour Martha Stewart Antique Gold embossing powder over the area where the sentiment is stamped. After I tap the excess embossing powder off of the card, I'll funnel it back into its container, and I'll melt the embossing powder with my heat tool. Now on to the sequins. I'm using the Pretty Pink Posh Wildflower Sequin Mix, which is an awesome mix of magenta, golden yellow, light blue, and plummy brown sequins. I haven't seen many similar color mixes, and I really like this one because the colors aren't too girly, so it'll work really well for both masculine and feminine cards. Okay, so here's the thing. I have really unsteady hands, so at first it was definitely kind of tricky for me to work with sequins. I would glue a sequin in place, but even quick drying glue takes a little time to dry, and since I have shaky hands, I'd often accidentally bump or nudge the sequins before the glue had a chance to dry. But I recently found a product that's been a total game changer for me, and that is the Glue Dots Micro Dots. These are teeny weeny glue dots. They're only 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters, and they are an absolutely perfect fit for the circles on the Sparkle Dot stamps. I use craft tweezers to pick up each dot and place it where I want it. Then I also use the craft tweezers to grab the sequins and place them. After the sequin is placed, I adjust it if I need to, and then give it a quick press to adhere it in place. The bond is instant and it's strong, so the sequins won't move around at all after they're adhered. Sometimes I notice that I do need to slightly adjust a sequin after I've pressed it in place, and in those cases, I'll use my thumbnail and a little bit of force to wiggle the sequin into place. So there is a bit of flexibility, but you do have to use a little force because the glue dot adhesive is pretty strong. I like to add a group of the glue dots first, sometimes a whole row, and then I'll add the sequins. This works out really well for me, but you can always place the glue dots, then the sequins one at a time too. Whatever works best for you. I would say that using the glue dots has cut the time that I take to do one of these larger shapes in half, and my shaky hands and I are very thankful that we don't have to worry about accidentally nudging sequins out of place anymore. I've also tried these glue dots with larger sequins, as well as flat sequins like snowflakes, stars, and hearts, and even the dimensional flower sequins in the Pretty Pink Posh Fresh Garden Mix, and they adhere really well with every type of sequin that I've tried so far. I haven't yet tried mailing a card like this, but you can see here that I'm running my fingers over the sequins pretty firmly and they're not going anywhere, so I think that they would be fine going through the mail. You can find a full list of supplies used in this video in the description area below or in the area below the video if you're watching on k.becca.com. I hope that you found this video to be helpful, and if you'd like to see more card making videos, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll tune in again soon.